Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is One Piece, Volume 1, Romance Dawn by Eiichiro Oda, Shonen Jump graphic novel. And I'm doing a new thing where I'm going back and rereading a lot of manga that I read when I was in high school, and trying to determine if I still think what I think of them now compared to what I thought of them when I first read it, and kind of just looking at it now, kind of thinking about, comics and writing and stories and all that other fun stuff here. So when I was in high school, I read One Piece quite a bit. It wasn't my favorite series, but I always kind of liked the story. Not so much the art style. I've always been very, very iffy about Oda's art style. I always thought it was like a little too thin and cartoonish, at least to me. Oda has this weird thing where he just draws women in like really, really odd ways a lot of times. I could never get over it, but I always liked the story a lot and continued to read it throughout high school up until I think I got to I think volume wise, like the 60s or that area, and then, up to volume 60s or the equivalent, online. A lot of people read manga online for free because Japan apparently doesn't care. But yeah, the thing that always got me about One Piece was I don't necessarily remember the story all that well, but I just remember liking it a lot. And I don't know if that's necessarily a diss on it or really just kind of like when you're in it, you're in it. But it doesn't really necessarily throw something high ideal at you while you're reading this whole thing. So anyway, I'm gonna just jump into it. What I want to talk about in here is there's a channel, Literature Devil, and he has a really awesome video on Eastern storytelling or Western storytelling and Eastern storytelling. And what made it really interesting, having watched that video a while back and now reading One Piece, is noticing One Piece is really, really fascinating. Most manga tend to have Eastern storytelling. Everything tends to be a bit of a ripoff of Journey to the West. Uh, but One Piece, it actually, and I'll show you right here, it actually starts off with a Western conflict driven story and then immediately transitions into Eastern storytelling for the remainder of the comics. So here I'm going to do right. So really interesting. This is currently the highest selling collected comic book series of all time. I think One Piece has sold more than anything out there, any European or any American comic, period. Which also makes this a really good thing if you are like interested in making something successful. You should really read One Piece because it begs the question, why is it so successful? And I think I know why. It's mainly because it's just fun for the most part. Really interesting, man. So yeah, he started One Piece in 1997. 65. Yeah, this was a while back when this guy got printed. It's well north of 65 million copies now. But yeah, so the first One Piece volume has a graphic novel called Romance Dawn, and it's 55-page graphic novel, and then everything after that kind of follows more the standard 20-page with maybe a double issue here and there. But very interesting, right? So I went over like the Jim Shooter rules in the Daredevil video, but really all Western, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of Western stories tend to follow the usual sort of dramatic structure where you have an introduction or exposition, you have, conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, and then some sort of resolution. But this story right here, the first graphic novel, Romance Dawn, that Oda did, it really actually follows more of a Western thing. So the first page you have Goldie Rogers, and you get this great era of piracy. And really what's going on here is this is exposition explaining the world of One Piece, actually rather succinctly in one panel to get you kind of fired up. And then you get this nice little super double page splash that's kind of cool to look at. I still can't get over this art style. I like One Piece. Don't hate at all. I just can't get over the art style at all. And then we get into it and we get more exposition. This is a village. This is a pirate. Boom. Here's the main character, Monkey D. Luffy. Very quick. Introduce the main character within 4 pages. Super fast, right? we go through it. Shanks, here's another main character. Kind of a lot of fun and comedy. One thing that I will say about Oda's art style is it's very expressive. You really get, you know when a character's happy, when he's laughing, when he's crying, when he's miserable, when he's pissed off. So definitely the best part about his art is that. Not so much the way he draws the body, but that's okay. And then, you get more world building, a lot of dialogue and character building. This is kind of more of the Eastern style where you have a lot of character building through dialogue. And then we get, effectively conflict right here with Higuma the Bear. I actually kind of forgot about this dude, and I was like reading back, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this guy freaking attacks them, and that's what drives everything up. So this guy comes in, insults the pirates that Luffy kind of admires. Get some more dialogue going on right here. Luffy gets pissed off at them because he's like, hey, these guys kind of punked you. Why didn't you do anything about it? And then, Shanks being a more mature person, it takes a little bit more to not fight every person that tries to attack you, right? And then you get sort of the complication or the twist right here. So for those of you who don't know about One Piece, there's a bunch of magical fruits from the sea, and they call them devil fruits. And effectively, if you eat them, you gain a unique power, but at the cost of your ability to swim. So for, anyone who's a pirate or a seafaring person, not exactly the greatest thing to not be able to swim just to gain a power, but, it's kind of a convenient and fun plot device to create superpowers and superheroes within your universe. So we get moving forward more build up right here. And then we get effectively the rising action and climax of the story, which is the bandits return. They kind of talk some more smack. Luffy, of course, not being mature, being a kid, he doesn't like to see people that he admires get insulted, and he kind of comes back and talks smack to them. Meanwhile, they're about ready to kill him up until, bam, Shanks and the pirate crew come back and save the day. Almost save the day, except guy gets away somehow, some way, plot device, and kicks Luffy into the sea. He doesn't realize that Luffy, having eaten the fruit, can't swim, so he's effectively murdering him. But the guy's kind of a murderer anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But effectively, the big plot twist here, or I guess the big turnaround, is Shanks saves him at a pretty heavy cost, and the experience really matures Luffy a little more. He still wants to become a pirate, but he's not trying to do crazy things to impress Shanks anymore. And in the process, Shanks gives him his hat, which is kind of his iconic symbol, and tells him, hey, when you're really good, come back and find me, and you'll give this back to me once you're a great pirate yourself. So effectively, you have the resolution here, and this technically is where a Western story would end. But because this is Japanese, of course, you have effectively, 10 years later, he goes out on his journey now that he's older, and of course, in typical anime fashion, same monster that nearly killed him 10 years ago, he freaking gains his freaking Kamehameha and fucking spanks him. Yeah, this was I remember reading this and really enjoying this aspect of the story a lot. And off he goes on an adventure, effectively a journey to the West, because the next couple chapters is effectively him, running into enemies that he fights, allies that he meets, people that he eventually recruits to join him in his quest for whatever he's doing, right? And it's very, very, very Japanese, or I should say really Eastern, effectively. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. I mean, to be fair, this has been around forever, so I don't think I'm spoiling One Piece for anyone. You could always read this stuff online for free, or, as I recommend, buy it. These are definitely not expensive. You can pick these up for pretty affordable prices, and they're fun reads and really enjoyable. But it's kind of interesting to me that the first graphic novel to set it up is technically Western in style, but then everything else afterwards becomes more Eastern. and maybe that's kind of the hook or something, or maybe the secrecy to it. But looking back at it, the verdict is, yeah, I still like One Piece a lot. I still necessarily don't like the artwork, but I think I like it more now that I've kind of gotten older, and I look back on it and I'm like, you know what, it's just his style. But yeah, no, One Piece is still really, really good. Definitely jump on it. There's a reason why this is the highest selling collected comic book, or I should say collected graphic novel of all time. And I'll leave links down in the description for places where you can pick this guy up. And also a link to the Literature Devil video. That's a really good video, by the way. And anyhow, that's it. Let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for notifications. If you have any comments, leave them down below. And I will see you next time.